So before we begin, I need to let you know that you have to use the June support, if not, none of this tech will work. Now, if we look at Zuko's dive kicks, okay, it looks like a commitment at first when you do the dive kicks, right? It's either you're not plus or you're plus, right? It's either you're not plus or you're plus. And with these dive kicks, the mind game with this is that if you're always plus for the most part, right? If you always like space it out so you're plus, then you can take your turn back. You know what I mean? Zuko has a 2A as his 6th frame, which can, you know, chain twice. So that is something that you can use to start your pressure. Now, if you consistently make the dive kick plus, you have like a mini mind game going on. Because it's so oppressive, your opponent may not know when they need to take their turn back. So when you're not plus, they'll be like, okay, that looked like all the other dive kicks before. I don't know if I need to take my turn back. Let me not take my turn back. So now you're getting plus frames off negative frames, if that makes sense. So there's a little mind game when it comes to that. Adding another layer onto that is the fact that you can cancel Zuko's dive kicks whilst he's in the air. Now, I've made a video on why this is very important for not just Zuko but other characters. But one thing you have to understand is, if you are actually negative initially, you can cancel. Now that +8, do not be deceived. You are not plus here. You know what I'm saying? However, your opponent may not press because they didn't expect you to cancel it. So you can take your turn back, but you are not plus. Azula can actually punish you. Right? See, I tried to take my turn back. There. You are not plus in this situation, so don't think you can take your turn back. These dive kick cancels are very important to Zuko because not only does it allow him to cancel his landing recovery, it also allows him to get some sort of mix up by cancelling it back into another dive kick. Okay, now what we are doing, if you just jump in the air with Zuko and press 2 flow in the air, Zuko changes direction. Okay, so we are cancelling the dive kick. You can cancel it with 2 flow. I would advise you to cancel it with the throw button, right? Because it does the exact same thing, because the flow input is in the flow button. Okay, now the reason why we're doing this is because we're facing a different direction. Zuko can cross up. And it can be very tricky for your opponent to block, especially when you do it quite close to them. So what you're going to learn and what you're going to practice is that you're just going to jump in the air and practice doing your J2 flow into the dive kick in another direction. Once you've gotten used to that, I want you to now practice jumping in the air, doing your J2C, and then cancel it into your throw button. The reason why we cancel it into the throw button is because if our opponent is near us, right, because we have the throw button activated, it can actually catch them and throw them in the air. So it's kind of like a mini option select when you do it that way. Now, after that, I want you to jump in the air, do your J2C, cancel it with the throw button, and then do your J2A. Once you get used to this, you'll be able to greatly improve your neutral while using this version of Zuko. Now I'm going to show you a basic sequence in how you can use Zuko's dive kicks to remain plus and have a good strike throw game in the corner. So we're just going to do 5A, 2A, very simple. And look at the distance that we're at. Right, if we do a dive kick, so if we do J2C, quite low to the ground, we're plus after this. Because we're plus, we can take our turn back. And Zuko's at a distance where you could potentially throw your opponent like this. But if you space yourself a bit more out, right, you might not be able to throw them. Let's say we're around here. Zuko has a Kara throw with 5B into throw. So we're at a range where we can maintain pressure because we're plus, and if we want to, we can mix it up and throw them from a greater distance, which they may not expect because of the dive kick. This is very strong for Zuko, and because the dive kick, when you use the June support, doesn't really have any height restrictions. You can do it at a range where you can continually get plus, or you can just get the carry throw and go for a mix-up. Another reason why this sequence is strong is because if your opponent thinks that you're going to go for a throw, you can just use your dive kick to bait out the throw tech attempt and go for a punish. So another mix you may have seen me do, granted this is fake by the way, this isn't real actual mix. They can air throw you, they can press buttons, there's so many things they can do if they catch on, but that's the whole point of conditioning. You want to condition them so they don't catch on, right? And they won't really know when you're going for this mix. It's 4B into his down forward flow, and I press down forward flow again to cancel it back into the dive kick. Now this is fake, but it is ambiguous, especially in the corner. In the corner, depending on how long you delay it, you can actually pull them out of the corner. Right, this is quite strong, especially if they don't expect it. They may not know exactly where you're hitting it. Where Zuko hits depends on how long you delay the flow. Right, you saw I hit cross up and I hit same side. It all depends on how long you delay the flow into the dive kick. With practice, you can get this faster and it becomes harder to block. The dive kicks greatly enhance Zuko's neutral and movement. For example, if we do his airflow, right, we get this burst, right, this fire burst that's good for Zuko in neutral. Now if we combine this with his dive kicks, it becomes quite strong. Right, you can see you can advance from quite a range back into your opponent. But what if you do the dive kicks into the airflow? Right, you can start doing things like this. And remember, Zuko has 3 versions of his dive kicks. The J2A, J2C, J2B, sorry, and J2C. Right, so utilize all of them, learn their ranges. It's very important. That could be the difference between you being plus and you being minus, right? So you can combine his air burst into, you know, the dive kick back into the fast fall. You can do that into the dive kick, back into the air burst, back into another dive kick. Like that. There's so many different things you can do. One very good neutral approach that I would recommend you take is this. Right, so you are cancelling his air burst into the dive kick, then you're cancelling the dive kick with the throw, or your flow, or whatever you want to use. Then we're cancelling that into his JM. Right, it does take some getting used to, but that's very good in neutral, especially mid-screen. Now there's a lot more things that I probably haven't even found out about Zuko's dive kicks, but it might seem overwhelming to someone who's just picking up the character. So how are we going to go about it? Well, we're going to practice. One thing I'd recommend you to do is just slowly practice his dive kicks one by one. First start off just by doing the dive kicks in general, so start with the J2A. Right, I'd recommend maybe at least 10-20 times on each side. Then J2B. Same thing with J2C. Then you practice the cancels. Then you practice using it in neutral. Then you practice spacing yourself. Find the ranges that you're plus. All these different kinds of things, right? Take your time, practice slowly, and you'll get there in no time. That's it for a quick dive into Zuko's dive kicks. This is the character that I do main in this game, and I will be doing a deep dive into Zuko later on. I will be releasing a Zuko guide. It won't be a 101, it will be a proper Zuko guide, but I still need to learn more about the character as I play him in the game. As always, if this helped, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.